Welcome to a new episode of Descúbrete Podcast. Today, I'm joined by someone who's building companies and also founders. Babar is the founder of iTitans, Kommerce Hub, investor in over 10 startups, creator of Titan Hub, where he mentors young founders under 30 and helps them turn ideas into real companies with real revenue, real execution, and real purpose. Babar, welcome to Descúbrete Podcast.
Thank you so much. Very excited for my first in-person podcast in Mexico.
We're so glad to have you. Let's get it started about all founder mindset. I want to talk about, you're right in the middle of how new founders, you help young people. And if you could summarize, what would be the difference between the old founder and these new founders that you're helping now?
I think if there's one thing that I've seen different is new founders are more lazy. They're more lazy. They always look for shortcuts. They look for things that they don't have to do themselves on an ongoing basis. They prefer lifestyle, work-life balance, and all these modern ideologies that come with entrepreneurship compared to the old founder that was very, very disciplined, punctual, hardworking, not taking shortcuts. And this has its benefits, pros and cons. But I think that's the one main difference I've seen in, we say new and old, but it's more traditional and non-traditional founders.
So we could say like the old currency was effort.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, it was more effort, and now it's more working the smart way and less the hard way.
What do you think is best?
Depends on the industry, right? There's multiple factors to it. I am more of the modern mindset. I'm more of the lazy. I want to have a work-life balance. I want to dream what entrepreneurship brings to my life sort of mindset compared to, the other mindset which is just hustle, grind, day in, day out. So I'm more of the new mindset, and I'm more believer of that also.
I think it's becoming more about what do you want to build? Be clear, be agile, more than just build. Some of the phrases that I heard before is like, just build an MVP and get it out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll figure it out. I think the old mindset was pretty much build as beautiful as possible, do a lot of effort, put a couple of years from Monday to Sunday, and then just go out and crush it. And I find this new way of working, I don't know what your take is, more about trying to find the best tools and the best people to just launch something.
Yeah. I think people and processes are defining productivity now. In the past, it was just how much you can do personally. People were still a part, but I think especially the process, which is all the tools and all the modern ways, I think that has added a lot of more effectiveness, and that has changed the style of entrepreneurship a lot when it comes to, from even 10 years ago.
I think burnout earlier was like a sign of proud, right?
Yeah.
It's like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
I'm experiencing burnout because I'm working so much. And now it just probably gives a signal of probably not getting the best strategy.
Yeah. I mean, I remember growing up and seeing how Steve Jobs was at the end part of his life. And I don't know all the stories behind it still, but I know he looked burnt out physically, mentally, every way. He had no family, etc., etc. So I think stories like those made people like younger people, younger entrepreneurs more cautious of, hey, I don't want to do this. Instead of what all he's achieved, that's good, but I don't want to be at that stage in that situation. So I think a lot of stories, social media has made it very, very common for us to realize the bad parts of burnout.
Yeah. We can, like, if we segmented like millennials of the first ones, you're probably a millennial. That grew up with internet. Let's say Gen Z are the social media generation and the mobile generation. Now the alphas are going to be AI natives.
Yeah.
How do you think this will disrupt the entrepreneurs?
I think people are going to find more and more ways to work less. For us, 8 to 10 hours is the minimum an entrepreneur is working. I think that's already come down in Gen Z to, I think, 6 to 8. I think for the next generation, which is the AI generation, I think it's going to be less than 6 hours, probably around 4 hours a day that they want to work because of all the effectiveness they can bring in those 4 hours with the right tools. So I think that's going to become a norm. Instead of us looking down on that, people are going to feel proud of, yeah, work less and achieve more because of all these tools and things that are coming up. So I'm really excited for this generation, but also it comes with a lot of challenges also, you know, some of which are not being distracted. I think they're a very, very distracted generation. I'm very distracted, but I think now the generation coming up is probably 10 times more because of all that they hear, see, absorb. So it's going to come down to who's filtering the right type of information coming in to their system and then being productive with that.
I definitely agree on that. I always say, I've- I'm a kid that grew up in the 80s.
Yeah.
I was a kid in the 80s, and smoking was like everywhere, right? You can smoke at the airports, at hospitals,
Mhm.
and now it's like you are looked down on if you're a smoker. I think because we knew back then that it was harmful,
Mhm.
but still allowed it. I think social media and the impact we're finding that it has on people's minds, like you said, so much information in one bit. I mean, I read somewhere that you receive about uh, as much information in a day today. A guy that your same age will receive, like in 1994, which is not that far away.
Yeah.
30 years ago, it will take a month for
Mm.
that person to receive the same information you get in a day. I think that's overestimated. I think you probably get more information.
Yeah. I think we get more. I think we get more. Again, growing up, we read newspapers. Even I read newspapers. I don't know when the last time I even saw
Saw a newspaper.
You know, not even pick it up. So that all that comes down to again is how much healthily you can absorb that information, because I feel there's less research and less data out there. It's not so commonly discussed, and probably that is backed by some big platforms. I don't know, Zuckerberg or whoever. They don't let the negative effects come out as such. I've heard a lot of negative stories, and which are big stories, but smaller everyday effects of social media, we don't hear much about them because we hear through all of that through social media. So are they controlling that narrative? Are they not letting it come out? I think there's going to be more and more of that information coming out as we move towards AI and decentralized and all those models, where people are going to realize how unhealthy all of this can be on a very small daily level for people.
As we were just moving to the new tech giants, you mentioned Zuckerberg, and we can go to Meta and Nvidia, the Magnificent Seven. They're going to valuations that we never seen before. No, trillions and trillions of dollars in valuations. My take is they're putting so much money in, and it comes to that. Where's that wealth is going to be generated out for real companies out there? Is it really the question about, and this is like very common everywhere you go, is like, will AI replace your job? Or
Yeah.
do you have to get some new skills? We're talking about generations. The alphas are going to be AI natives. But right now we have a workforce of probably X generations in command of a lot of companies, and a lot of middle and management jobs done by millennials. They have no idea what's going on with AI. What's your take on that?
I think it's a very interesting time for, especially I would say all generations, honestly, X, millennials, Z, alphas. I think it's a very interesting time because these days people don't really care, and especially after COVID, don't really care what age you are. They care about what value you provide. I've seen 21 years old be in great management positions in companies, on top of people who've been in those companies for 20 years, just because they bring in the right value. So I feel it's a very exciting time because as the older generation, you're more open, especially after COVID, to digitization, AI, and all these new things. As the newer generation, if you can spot the right opportunities with that older generation, I think there's so much value transfer that can happen. With this new generation, AI and digitalization is easy. This old generation, making money, they figured out. So how can we combine these two things on an ongoing basis? Doesn't matter what age, what degree you have, what value you can provide to this generation, older one, is what's going to determine for this alpha generation on how to make money quickly, and more regularly.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think companies are looking for shareholder maximization of capital,
Yeah.
right? The company doesn't care if they have now this news that just came out this week about the laying off of like 14,000 people at Amazon in, we could call it white collar jobs, right? They're not in the warehouses. They're like more middle and management stuff. That the thing that says to me is starting. I mean, we've been talking about people getting being laid off, and Amazon sounds and makes the news because it's Amazon. But this probably is happening everywhere in the world, all across all size of companies.
Yeah.
How is it? How is it that you think companies should be moving towards an AI era?
I think in simple terms is hiring the right people. If I am not already using AI in the past 2 years, we've known that it's mandatory. I'm still unable to move towards it because of whatever mental barrier I have. I think I'm old, I'm lazy, whatever it is. I think you need to hire the right people for any other thing, right? Back in the day, if my father couldn't do accounting himself, he would hire an accountant. If you can't do AI, hire the right people. Look towards younger people. Younger people know much more about AI because it's a part of their life, as Google was for me growing up. So I think hire the right people. They'll bring in the right processes. Don't make age, gender, race, level of education, all that a barrier when you're hiring. Just focus on what value this person is bringing, what they know, and what their mindset is. And hire different than what you are. I think that's a global thing, anyways. Hire different than yourself so you can have a good balance. Similarly, hire different than what you are in terms of AI. I think that will determine how quickly, efficiently you can move towards, the right type of automations and intelligence going forward. Also, one more thing I think which is going to matter a lot is the actual data centers that you have, data centers, data usage that you have. How effectively, cost effectively can you grow those, and how trustworthy they are? There's also going to be an important factor for, especially for bigger companies. I think in the next 10 odd years.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely, data centers are going to become part of our every day. We're going to see more and more data centers because they are the building blocks behind all of this.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: in your view, what kind of founder is going to outlast in these next 5 years? They say will be probably 5 years to AGI. So founders are going to be different.
Yeah.
You can probably you can build anything with no code pretty much now. I mean, I know there's bits and pieces that you still need programmers, but I heard this before and I love it. Is like you have to be at least vibe coding 1 hour a day, just for fun. Just do some private product, whatever. I mean, build an app to play for your kids or to keep score or to keep I don't know the groceries on your house, whatever. Just vibe code. Just started doing vibe coding because you don't have to have the.
Yeah.
Let me put this example, and you probably can help me understand this better. It's regular language, there's code, and then is software, right? You used to have software to build. Now you have the bridge. The AI will be the bridge. I think that you have founders thinking in a different way.
Totally. I think that's going to be a no-brainer that either you think in a different way or somebody in your circle is thinking in a different way. If I am being really honest, I think the characteristics which will help people succeed are not going to be very different. You have to network with the right people. Human connections are going to become more and more important. I think so, because of all this automation, AI, fake, unreal stuff coming in terms of information. We saw Sora 2 right now. I can't even tell what's true and no. And So I think human connection is going to be very, very important, as they were in the past also. I think probably become more important now. I think hiring the right people without ego is going to be very important. I'm a founder. I don't need AI. I don't need to hire this young dude who's asking me for $200,000 because, and he's just 21. No, I think the ego has to be removed from your hiring part. I think that's one thing that might be a little different than the older generation, but the networking has to be there. The hiring the right people has to be there, and then the mindset of ever changing has to be there. I think that's something that is a little different. Older founders were used to of figuring out a success formula and staying on that. Newer founders should be able to change very quickly, take risks much more quickly. So the risk taking appetite has to be a little more when it comes to the newer founder generation. And yeah, but I think the basics,
The basics are you gotta
right
still say.
people, hiring them and knowing the right people, I think that's going to be a big key, because I think the AI state framework, the landscape is going to become pretty standard, after a few years. Some people will be exceptions and doing great in that, but generally it's going to be a standard. So these two factors are going to matter a lot, in my opinion.
This factor about grit and resilience, which I think they're very, very important for a founder, are gonna translate a little bit about knowing more about yourself
Mm.
and how well you know yourself and how well you can and it's like building blocks again. If you know yourself and you know what your flaws are and you know what you need,
Mm.
it'll be easier to hire people. But it also will be easier to find a different set of thinking process. Because one of the things that I find more amazing with these kind of tools is that thinking process has to be different.
Mm-hmm.
I come from doing business in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
They has no space in this kind of era, in this era. Uh, Today, you have to build and structure the business or the idea in a different way because you have different tools, because you had tools that you never had before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not just AI, it's agentic AI. And pretty much sooner or later, we're going to have AGI. We're starting to see. I saw this robot that they launched this week, which it made me laugh because I think it took like 9 minutes to load a dishwasher. So it's like the dumbest rover ever, but it came down to the same theory. Build an MVP. Doesn't matter how good it is, just get it out there.
Yeah.
It will learn. And what they say, well, they have like neural networks. So if one of them knows how to load the dishwasher, well, eventually all of them learn instantly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think we live in an era that we have to know more about ourselves. Uh, I think we're going to live in an era where all your uh, master degrees, PhDs degrees, and all of that are going to become less. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Very true. Very true. I hope my mom doesn't hear this, but I hated my master's degree. I just did it for my mom. There's no other reason. And this is like 8, 9 years ago, whatever. Uh, there's more and more people who don't want degrees at all, leave alone masters and all that. I think very, very few fields will require you to go to college. Probably being a doctor or some form of, blue collar jobs. That training might require you to go to college actually. But besides that, I don't think college even now is useful. You know, Unfortunately, we still have those legal requirements where good jobs and this and that require these degrees. But I think all that is gonna, paddle out very soon. You talked about understanding yourself. I think that's a very important point, because I remember growing up, an entrepreneur not waking up early and going to work early was a very bad sign. You wake up at 10 a.m., 11 and go to work, oh, you're lazy, you will never be successful. Now nobody cares. Now nobody cares what time you sleep, what time you wake up, what your routine personally is. It just again, people care just about the productivity, what you're bringing to the world, and the value. So I think just a small example of how understanding yourself is very important. I had a recent discussion with a friend who was like, I think I can never be successful because I wake up late. I'm like, that's not at all. This is like 1990s. Now nobody cares if you wake up at 10 and you're productive for the next 4 hours. I would take that instead of you waking up at 6 and being, lazy the whole day or whatever. So I think understanding yourself and doing the right moves has been there forever. But I think now more importantly, understand your own comfort, your own productivity, your own style, and go in that, because there's going to be some ways to execute that. And if you understand that, that's going to be the first step to try to, improve your lifestyle.
And that's one thing. Breaking out of the barriers and all the files and all the programming that you have from growing up. Us growing up in third, let's call them third world countries. I mean, undeveloped countries, whatever. You grew up in Pakistan, I grew up in Mexico City. Uh, it's always this idea that you have to grind and not enjoy life until you're 60 or 65, and then you retire, and then you work like for 45 years, and then you can retire and enjoy life.
Yeah.
And I think this new mindset is allowing yourself to have spare time for you, and you can live pretty much anywhere in the world. Can you describe yourself as a digital nomad?
I'm personally scared of that term, because till now I'm trying to accept it because I think I am. But I'm personally scared still, because still that links me, and that's my old mindset, to, the sort of the junkie lifestyle in a certain
Okay.
growing up we saw junkies just traveling everywhere, and
Like a hippie from the 60s.
like a hippie from the 60s. Yeah, that's a better word. And I don't want to be a hippie,
So you don't want to be a hippie from the 60s.
Yeah, it still scares me, but I think that's what I am, right? I can work out of anywhere. The last 1 year I have a house in Dallas, and I've stayed there less than a month. I've been all over the world. I got an American passport, so I use that to travel 15 odd countries, I think. While I think my business is 2x at least. So I was on everywhere I was working, and that makes me a digital nomad. So I think it's very, very important. And I've been super productive. I feel more productive than my previous years of my life, because I'm able to enjoy life. Personally, for me, I think COVID was an eye opener, when I realized that you can die whenever, and we always heard that, and we saw that, but the number of young deaths we saw, especially people close to us, even the last 5 years, especially those 2-3 year period, was very eye opening for me. So I'm like, if I want to travel, I don't know when I can die. So why not travel while I'm building stuff? And once you decide to do something, what you like, what you don't like, I think beauty of AI and modern tools is you can figure out a way to do it. Yes, there's going to be 10% adverse effects, negatives of being in certain part of the world and doing certain things in your style, but that's the cost you pay for living your life. So I think now more and more people are accepting that, agreeing to that, enacting that in their life. I'm surprised to see the amount of digital nomads in these communities that exist. People who work 7 months out of 12 on a cruise, going to different parts of the world. I'm amazed to see how many people already are in that stage. And that's very inspiring, I think, to say the least.
Being a digital nomad will leave you probably a sense of not belonging anywhere.
Yeah.
How's that make you feel?
It's very interesting, because quite a few personal connections have asked me this question. I feel when I left home in Pakistan in like 20-ish, I think
That was it.
that was it. I don't care what part of the world I'm living in after that. I came to a digital nomad lifestyle the past couple of years, but for me, I left my home 10 years ago. So it doesn't really matter where I belong. The beauty of today's world is you're accepted everywhere. If you're a good person, if you bring in a positive energy, doesn't even really matter how rich you are, what value you're creating. I think those initial beliefs, initial things, if you have those, you can be in any part of the world and people will understand you, respect you, like you. For me personally, sports has played a big part in belonging, in the sense of belonging. Um, so I think, yeah, if you have those innate features, and your traits in you, you don't need to belong anywhere. You can belong everywhere in the world.
I think you explained it very well. You belong back home. It's always back home.
Yeah.
I mean, your parents still there.
Yeah.
You have a place. You're not just what you're saying is it's not this past 2 years that I've been living all over the world. It's always been like that.
Yeah.
Since 10 years ago when I left home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that starts a different journey. and of course a different mindset of how you can interact and always be in a sort of an outsider.
Yeah. You know what I think, Hector? I think this, and I just, trying to put words to it right now, but I think people from third world countries, people who have to leave their homes in search of better opportunities, better life, slowly are going to be more successful than people who stay in their vicinities, which are people in developed parts of the world. I don't see people from the US leaving a lot. Probably they leave when they're 60. I don't see young people from the US leaving their bubble. Very few people leave their bubble. They might go to another city, another state for college. That's pretty much it. That's their bubble. So I feel as this globalization, AI, the lifestyle becomes more common, people like you and me who have to leave home, or for them it's not a big deal to leave home, are going to be the ones who are going to slowly rise up, more than people who just stay in their bubble.
I definitely think that's true. If we go back about, let's say, 100 years ago, 150 years ago, and now you see how the US VC market is so much bigger than Europe's VC market. People are more willing to take risks. Most of the population are the ones that left, that took the risk.
Mm-hmm.
And as far east as you go, I mean, the people in California, they're the ones that took the most risk.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even, they make it to the coast and then they travel all the way back there. Now we're talking to most people that if they go back in their lives, probably their ancestors are the one that took the biggest risk. So it's probably a DNA risk that you're more thrived. People, like you said before, I had to leave my house when I was young and study abroad. You've been out of your house for 10 years. You have to take risks. It's just a way that you're built. And I think in entrepreneurial sense and ecosystems, we're gonna see a mega shift because the people that are willing to make risks, they're already taking them. We're just getting more tools.
Mhm.
It's like the toy store got bigger.
Yeah, it's gonna speed up more. It's gonna speed up more
Exactly.
because of all. It's gonna become more and more common. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
So a long time ago, a guy told me, if you build a screwdriver in Mexico and you sell it in the US, you'll have a profit.
Yeah.
What you're doing right now in your business, you build globally and you access the US market. Let me know a little bit how that works. How does that?
I think again that is one of the beauties of being from a third world place. Third world underdeveloped, less costly.
Yeah, whatever. It's always not politically correct. It's like,
Yeah.
what's a political? Well, they call us third world, not undeveloped. It sounds a little bit better.
I don't care,
know.
right? I don't care what terminology attached to it, but in the end, we're people who hustle more, we're more hungry, and I think that's what defines these opportunities. When I came to the US, the first thing I saw, I remember, was how easy people make a lot of money. Because in my head, I was converting it to my currency. You make $1 million, that's worth this much in my part of the world. This is like top 0.5%, So I think naturally, as hungry people, as people who want to have a change, we're always on the lookout for opportunities. That's what my mindset was. I saw people, a lot of money, putting less effort in earning money. I'm like, okay, how can I do this with even a lower cost base, with even more hungry people? I can promise you, a normal college graduate in a third world country is 5x more hardworking than a developed country graduate. There's some exceptions left and right, but as an average, we are born hungry, and I feel that is what defined my journey of finding opportunities, and even to date, and seeing what I can do at a lower cost base, at a better quality. I think the one barrier that we had to cross was a mental barrier, was the ego barrier, and which a lot of developed country people have against people from underdeveloped countries. I did not have that because I was from that part of the world. So for me, I knew my people do a great job and they're trustworthy and everything. So I didn't have that barrier. But the one barrier I had to cross was, yes, I can charge the same amount of money that a person in the US is charging. Doesn't matter where my supply is. I think that's one limiting belief I had the past 5 odd years. And once I've learned how to overcome that with the same processes and people and things, I'm making, 3x, 4x money that I was making in the last few years. So yeah, I think in a nutshell, we're hungry, so we find the right opportunities when we move to a land where people have more opportunities.
And then you find a way to have suppliers offshore and have product onshore.
Yeah.
Probably better quality.
Yeah, for sure. In the tech space, at least, for sure.
In the tech specs, definitely.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
you come from part of the world that's probably the factory for tech
Yeah.
stuff in the world.
Yeah. For sure. What do you think about Mexico? Do you think Mexico is also a great tech hub for resources?
Oof. I think there's a lot of talent.
Mm.
Being the neighbor that we're always been to the US, a lot of people, a lot of good talent escape really fast. Right? And in the early stage, I know a whole bunch of really talented guys that already worked in the US. And I don't see them coming home anytime soon or being raided by ICE or anything. They're already citizens of the US.
Yeah.
I think Mexico has a great opportunity just because we're here. Being the neighbor, it has like downsides and upsides. But if you leverage the upside, I heard somewhere like 30% of the population in the US speak Spanish or have any descent that speaks Spanish. So there's a huge Hispanic market.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of product to be built and sold in the US with that demographic. Just, they say, find your niche. That's not a niche. That's a freaking ocean. I mean, this is just Latin American population of the US. I think Mexico, like it happened to us in the movies back in the 80s, 90s. The release gets done in the US and then we get the movie like 6 months before, after, I'm sorry, 6 months after. I think this AI revolution, this change in paradigm, the most exciting that I heard people say, this is the most exciting time in humanity to be alive for what we're seeing, how it's evolving. We're getting caught behind. Middle to smaller companies, say companies that make between $2 and $15 million a year, they're pop and mom shops or one owner shops. They are not seeing what's coming. And I'm afraid if they don't change, they're going to be rolled over by some kid, some 21 kid from anywhere in the world is going to see that opportunity. Because like we said, we live in a global world now.
Yeah, and opportunities are becoming very common for everyone to know. The playing field is becoming more and more fair slowly. Still a long way to go because of all the legal stuff, but it's becoming more fair. I have a question also, because on this topic, why do you think, as the Indians and Asians have taken over tech and data in the US and those jobs in that industry, why do you think people from Latin America were not able to do that in the last 20, 15, 20 years?
Because they're late. They have it so easy. They say Mexico is like a really good place because there's some parts of Mexico that you just stay in your hand and you grab a mango, a banana. I mean, and because they're being taught manufacturing jobs. I think that's the big education was the buildup.
Yeah.
I studied a little paper about Vietnam not too long ago, and how that after the war and after all they came to, now they're a huge economy. It's all based in education. And in here, we educate people to build cars.
Yeah.
To build stuff, manufacturing jobs,
Yeah.
not tech jobs.
Yeah, I think that's very true. I think I'm living in Mexico now. I've observed the same thing. There's a lot of smart people, a lot of hungry people also, but the level of education and exposure that they've had in life growing up has been lesser to what I think our part of the world has. So
You're farther away, so it's not as easy to send a car to be built in that part of the world and then sell it in the US, right?
Yeah.
So we also had since 94 this trade agreement that we can build stuff here and then less taxes and less import, right?
Yeah.
So what happened is Mexico became the factory,
Mm.
pretty much. Cheap labor, now they're trying to turn it around, but for many years, this is what happens.
For physical products.
Physical things,
Yeah.
cars, fridge, you name it.
Yeah.
You build it over here, cheaper, you sell it over there.
Yeah.
But none of that had any tech.
Yeah.
I think that's where we fall behind. And the thing is, right now, the shift is all about a mix between mindset and tech.
Mm.
And we're used to build cars.
Mm.
So I think it's going to be harder. I think my generation, the X generation, has grown a little bit big egos and say, no, I already made it. I don't need this. My business is relied in so many years to this cookie cutter thing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to survive. And I think they don't see that they're not.
Yeah.
I mean, all the data points at they're not. And I always say this thing. When you see a problem, follow 3 things: money, power, or ladies. Those are them probably one of the if you track behind a problem, you can find the source there, right? And here I follow the money. So there's trillions of dollars. Somewhere that money, somebody has to make that money back. So compute power, tokens, GPT-1, it was $600 3 years ago. Not that long ago. See, people talk a lot about inflation, right? Well, not a lot of people talk about $600 tokens, per million tokens, and now 50 cents for million tokens.
Yeah.
So if you translate that money into AI applications in workspaces and getting rid of a lot of labor, a lot of cost, that in my mind, that's where the money trail leaves you. So a company eventually is going to start paying tokens instead of salaries. And this blows my mind because they say that if you tokenize a human brain, it'll be like 350,000 tokens a day. 350,000 tokens a day are way less than 50 cents, right?
Yeah.
So what's going to happen with all these people that I feel in Mexico? We're falling behind. There is this layer of people that I'm so glad that I'm part of in some way. Like there's a big tech hub here in Querétaro, and you get into the chats, and then you hear people talking about AI and automatizations of and AI agents and they're launching products, which is I find amazing. But in the general population, you don't hear anything.
That's true. That's true.
And I think that the same thing happens in the US. Decision makers are really into this, but by like most of the time in the US, the main population, they live for Friday night lights and football on Sundays. I mean, they're just living their lives. And suddenly if you work at Amazon and you're probably making $250,000 a year, and one day you receive a text message and then it's over.
Yeah.
I don't know if people are prepared for this.
Yeah, it's very scary. I have a lot of friends who've been laid off, very smart, much smarter than me, much hardworking than me. Then they're like, bro, you have a job. Fuck, you're asking me for a job? I mean, I looked up to you for a lot of things in my life.
I was looking for you as an investor, buddy. What's saying?
Yeah, it's very scary, right? And they even have big savings because of their big jobs and all. They can easily start a business. I've helped some of them start businesses even. But just because they're tuned in that way, they think, oh, we're getting laid off, right away we have to find another job or else our life is fucked, So yeah, I it's funny because in another podcast I was saying that I get happy when people get laid off. I'm happy for them because a lot of them are very smart, very hardworking. They need that push. And sometimes that laying off is that push to start something of their own. So I've had quite a few stories like this. So I somehow, for most people, I get happy when they're laid off. For some I don't, who are really suffering. But for most, I'm happy. And I hope it can happen to more people. in the right way, hopefully. They get a good check or good bonus or whatever and get laid off, because they can do great things. A lot of corporate people can do great things if they just tweak their mindset a little bit.
In the coming years,
What, sorry?
what excites you the most?
Um, Entrepreneurship becoming more common as it used to be back in the Stone Age, I think. Uh, in good ways and bad ways, I think it's going to be more common. People are going to live for themselves, produce, create to survive. More people are figuring it out in the last 5 years, especially with all these big layoffs and this and that. More smarter people are going towards entrepreneurship than going towards job. When I was growing up, I didn't hear you should be an entrepreneur. I heard you should be a doctor or an engineer. That's it. In my part of the world, that's it. Not even a sportsman. I wanted to be, but in my part of the world, no. Doctor, engineer, that's pretty much pilot probably. Now, no. Now people start by training their kids to be entrepreneurs and go sell candy, do this, do that. Those traits that, because we are becoming parents, so we know the value of entrepreneurship. We know of not being dependent on somebody else, that much. So I think I'm very excited for how in the next 20 years we'll have many more entrepreneurs percentage wise compared to job people.
I want to touch on something that you just talked about. In hindsight, looking back at, you were a sports high performer.
Yeah.
In a sport that's probably not very known in this side of the world, but I don't know. I haven't looked at the statistics, but I'll bet is one of the top 5 sports played in the world.
Yeah. I think I'm number 2, if not.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just for population.
Yeah.
Do you have any regrets?
I think I had much more regrets till the time I tried to play again. So I quit after my college and 1 year of a good job to play cricket again. That reduced my regrets a lot. It's still not gone. I think it's never going to be gone. One of my best friends, he's the captain of the national team. So I become so emotional seeing him play because in my head, it's me playing. I'm living my dreams and life through him. But that has gone down. It used to be a big problem for me till I had not tried it once again. But since then, it's gone down a lot. And I've also figured out that in the end, the impact I can create with my life now is probably more than what a sports person in that sport can create. So I'm very glad for the upbringing, the vision, the mindset I've been taught and I've been raised with, that I'm able to impact many more lives, which I think I could have done through that sport. And I figured out that's what drives me, Yes, sport is lovely. Till now, if I have 50 people watching my game, I love it. There's no more thrill than that. But that is a little short-lived. That is a little short-lived. That is very performance-driven on the day. That's one bad part about sport. It can make you or break you on the day. So I figured out now that what I do is more consistent. So yes, I have regrets, but it's gone down a lot, especially because the life that I've built and that I've been raised up with by my parents.
What are the 2 big takeaways? I mean, you talk about your parents and how you were raised. I think the way you grow up, the environment you grow up, gives you set up. I always think of my head as a computer. I don't know why, but it gives you some files, right? You have some files in your computer. The root system files are the ones that your parents put in there, right? And your environment growing up. What are the things that you think you needed to change from those files in order to achieve what you're doing right now?
That's a very interesting question. I think nobody has ever asked me that. The root files have been great. And they're the ones that cannot be deleted. You know how in Windows we had systems that cannot be deleted?
Yeah. Those ones, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Those what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So those cannot be deleted. I'm very proud of those. Mainly hunger and mainly discipline and hard work. But I think things that my parents did not know and did not teach me, which I've been taught by the society, is dreaming big, dreaming huge, in fact. My parents came from very poor backgrounds, so they were very happy with what they achieved. But I personally think if I look back at their life, because of their hard work, their discipline, their hunger, their ethics, their morals, they could have done 10x more. But they did not have that exposure, that vision to dream that big. I think one thing that I've been taught by society growing up is how big you can dream. Doesn't matter where you're from, what you do, and social media and tech and all these have played a big part in this. And secondly, is it's okay to be wrong and not be perfect in a lot of parts of our life. Our parents grew up with beliefs and practices that you have to be an ideal parent, an ideal entrepreneur, an ideal job person, very disciplined, and you cannot, it's bad to make mistakes. So to the idea of making mistakes, failing, um, learning from them, very importantly, was something foreign. I felt guilty for making mistakes, because that's how we were tuned. But that have become the biggest learning points for me in my life. So I think these are the two main things, making mistakes is okay, and you can dream as big as you want.
This is a cool question because I was just thinking the question is like, what's your biggest mistake? But which one is the one that hurt the most?
Honestly, because I've tuned myself, I don't think of them as that way.
I know that I was writing out.
Yeah, because I feel
they don't hurt. Which one is the one that taught you the most?
I think my failure with my first business in the US taught me the most, and it's most relevant. I spent very, very hard, earned 300,000 in 3 years on that business, and I got nothing out of it. Just all my learnings. So that taught me the most on how to build, right? How to be agile. There's a list of things, but I think most importantly, what it taught me was not to have a very narrow vision, not to just see here how people, and that's again one difference in generations. My father's lane was this. He's an educationist. My mom's a doctor. These were their lanes. For me, I'm a tech entrepreneur, but I don't care if something's going to make money. I'm a jump on, and that's my investor side or opportunity side. So I think that's one thing that failing Influencer Hub taught me, that those 3 years, if I had an open vision, not narrow on my line only, I would have earned much more, sustained much more, probably made it successful even, because I was being supported by these other things going on. So I think that was my biggest learning from that first startup.
In a startup, who plays the most important role? Or sometimes as a solo founder, you wear different hats. Which is the hat that will play the bigger role in a company? The tech, the hustler, sales, or the geek that knows how? I mean, out of these lanes, and who do you think is the most important part of the team?
I think sales runs the world. So if I had to choose a function, it would be sales. But I think more importantly than that, how healthy you're able to keep your mind, your heart, and your body on a long term basis is what I've seen as a success metric for a lot of founders. But for me, when I look back, I was not in my healthiest shape physically because I was not in a healthiest shape mentally. And my emotions played a big part in this. I was honestly building all of this and failing. I was emotionally okay because a very good support system. That is very, very important. Friends and family were very supportive. So emotionally, I was okay, but in my head, and because of that, my body was suffering a lot. And if I had not done that in that crazy way that I tried to, I think I might have made that successful because my idea was great. Even till now, my idea is great, the same idea. But execution, because of not being in good shape personally, is what, I think made me fail.
What makes you a great salesman?
Empathy. I think if you're able to be in somebody else's shoes, understand what they need, then you're able to sell better. And for every industry, every product is different. But I think you cannot force sell to people. You can convince them, you can show them the importance, but it has to come from a place of empathy where you really feel what's
pain.
going on in their life, what their pain points are. So if there's one skill I think which is very much needed, is going to be empathy. These days, I think communication and being a extrovert and all those older sales things don't really matter a lot. I know a lot of good salespeople who are big introverts. You know, I personally think introverts can sell better now. With all the tools and things that we have going on. So yeah, I think empathy is that one main factor that I figured out.
Wow.
What do you think?
I think I suck at sales. Uh,
What is it?
I'm working on it. I mean, but
Yeah.
it's hard for me to sell. It's hard for me. It's one area, and I've done this my whole life. I mean, I worked in a brokerage firm, did sales for a while. Retail sales is kind of it was always hard for me. I mean, I can do like big account sales, but retail sales, I'm not that good. I think I can sell to the bigger audience because I think I can translate my ideas and make the guy in front of me see what I see when I'm building a product or when I'm building a solution for a company or where I'm building an idea. I think that's pretty much where my strengths are. But I think in the world that's coming,
Yeah.
you touched on this before, but personal relationships are going to be on top. But you have to have like a really good stack of tools that you manage to be able to compete in any area. I mean, if you're a founder, if you're trying to work for a company, like I think that coming back to the layout, the Amazon layoffs, because it's a great example. I mean, there are 500 people that were left on those teams that stayed. Probably that's my guess. They don't throw everybody out the door, right? So why do the people that stayed? What are the tools? What their mindset? Mostly, I think, is mindset. Is how do you prepare to coming back to the files? You know, those system files that we have.
Yeah.
I think they have to be reshaped. That doesn't mean you're going to lose your personality. I mean, biggest things in the file probably are hard work, honesty, empathy. Those don't have, but there are a lot of files there. There are limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
They limit your way of thinking.
Yeah. It's interesting when you say it in this way. I think the files that our parents taught us were very small files, probably in KBs. And now we have to think in at least GBs, if not, terabytes.
Yeah.
That is the generation gap. Now young people, their basic files are GBs, and our KBs cannot compare with their GBs. So I think it's you grow on to those files. You don't lose those KBs, but you make them bigger into GBs with other things adding on. So yeah, I think that's a very interesting take.
Definitely. I was at a conference yesterday and I was listening to somebody talk about how the marketing is going to be done. And you probably heard this, and it's been out there. Zuckerberg announced it that Meta is going to do the whole work. You just have to give them your URL, and they'll proceed and do your campaign, test it, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Who's gonna know better your audience than a guy that has 3 billion people in their platform?
Yeah.
They're gonna know better your audience than yourself.
Yourself.
They're probably gonna do a better ad campaign than you. What's gonna happen with all the marketers? They say, okay, we prompt. Now we prompt the campaigns, right? Now most campaigns are done with some kind of LLM, and then you prompt it, and then now the thing to teach people is how to prompt and how to pimp the prompt, and then how to contra prompt the prompt and blah 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 and so on and so forth. But most industries are going to be wiped out by big companies, the Magnificent Seven again. Calendly got just wiped out by Google. I don't know if you saw that, but the new code, the new Google coder, it competes directly with Lovable and Replit and all these companies that have raised millions of dollars. And then the lab comes and just puts out something that is in your basic Google Suite. Google Suite. I don't know anybody that doesn't have a Google Suite on. So how are you building now in the shadow of these big giants? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think, again, we discussed the core traits that founders have and should have going forward, right? So I think it's going to come down to that. Using your network inside your product or outside your product, how quickly can you build that? If I'm able to build, if a small niche very strongly in terms of traffic, Google would not want to go that route, try to build that. It's just going to buy me up.
That's what you want.
Yeah, and that's what we should aim for. I think our generation and the coming generations is going to be easiest to become millionaires overnight. I mean, I till now I've worked hard to be where I'm at, but I think a lot of people will work even lesser than me. My father worked his whole life to probably earn how much I earn. I did that in 5 years. People might do it in 6 months. Build a good product, get traffic, sell it out next. And people
But
are
they're
still
doing that
people are still
right now.
doing that. So I think that is a very exciting thing to do. I can be a millionaire in 6 months, 1 year. I can try 3-4 products. One fails, two fails, 30 successful. In what, 3 years I'm a millionaire if it's 1 year each product. So I think it's a very exciting time because these big companies are paying attention to smaller startups and people. 10 years ago, Google wasn't paying attention to any small startups. Now they're paying attention because they have to. So I think it's a very exciting time. It's scary also, but it's exciting also in the same way because you can keep doing this over and over again. If you have 40 years of working life, you can flip 20 products. That makes you in the top 0.5% in the world, I guess, in terms of wealth. So I think it's a very exciting time.
And sometimes I think you don't even have to be that creative. Just go out there and look something that's working, tropicalized to your area. Like I said, just focus on Hispanic speaking people in the U.S.,
Yeah.
Mexico, Colombia, Chile, Ecuador, Peru.
Yeah.
They're big. I mean, they're not big markets per se, but if you add them up, they're huge markets.
Yeah.
I always think, how economy in Argentina has been tough for the last 20 years, right? On the other hand, some of the most amazing founders are from Argentina. And I think they built, since they're building from the beginning, they're building from Latin America, not just for, they know they're not going to have enough audience there. So and I think Mexico is kind of that.
Yeah.
We build for us in a small niche. We take, and like you said, it's just generalized, not pointing any fingers, but I think sometimes we take regional wins, like, okay, I made it. It's like, dude, you made it
In the small
in this small thing, right? And then as soon as you feel you made it, you put yourself in a comfort zone that is going to stop the growth.
Yeah. So I think there's it's a double-edged sword because my parents always tell me, why you work hard, you enjoy your life also, and take it easy also. And I do take it easy in my way, but they don't see it. But my father became happy with what he achieved in the first 10 years of his life, I think. And then he stayed pretty consistent, but happy. Should you stay consistent and happy? Or should you stay ever hungry and sometimes not happy? Because people are always hungry. I've seen them sometimes not be satisfied and happy with what they have currently. So I think it's a double-edged sword. It's tough to stay hungry and satisfied both.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah.
I think get a number. That's something that I have always thought. Get a number. And when you get to that number, then you see, I mean, reshape. I like this term about living by design, right? I mean, you have to have some design. How many people put time and effort to just design make a design of the way you want to live, right? So if you can do that, and either you have achieved some milestone, some cool exits that give you enough capital to do that, cool, find it. If not, just get there. First and foremost, get there. How? Work hard.
Yeah.
There's no other way. I mean, work hard, iterate, pivot, do whatever you have to do to get to that level of financial freedom, which is probably the first step stone. And from there, you can take all the decisions like you just said. I think, and that's my personal belief, that for me, and I think for the future, there's gonna be a reasonably lower number than earlier before. They're gonna be a gazillionaires that they're And I think living a cool life with a lot of perks, with a lot of, they say in 5 years you can have a robot in your house for like 300 a month. I want to have enough to have a couple of robots.
Yeah.
You know, I want to have enough. I mean, but it's not the really high end. I'm not talking about billions of dollars. Get a number. I think that's the idea. Getting a number and just be satisfied with that, and from there you can start building again.
Yeah. I think I
And
understand what you're saying. I think
just
yeah.
sorry, and just to finish that, when you get to your number, start giving back.
Yeah.
That's one of the main things that I think that
Very
should
important.
happen.
And I can talk a lot about that because I think most of what I've achieved in life is because of that one factor, period, the giving back factor. But just one thought on your comment. I think human nature works in a way. If I get a Tesla, I want a Ferrari. If I get a Ferrari, I want a Bugatti. It's just going to keep going up and up. So if you can figure out that you're not that type, then it's easy for you. Hit a number and be satisfied. That's probably something like what my dad did. But I think in today's age, it's so tricky to have that mindset. I mean, if somebody has that, I really appreciate them. But I think once you get to a stage, you always keep, because of all the information and stories and all that you're getting, opportunities also, you always want to keep expanding, your pocket, your mindset, your vision, your learning. So I think it's really hard to actually achieve that, just because of the information overload and examples and stories we have. I have 1 million now. Oh, it takes, half the time to go to 10 million. Oh my God, I go to 10x. So I think it's tough. It's tough.
I'm gonna tell you, I listened to this guy and I follow him. He wrote a book called The Algebra of Happiness and stuff like that. He's a guy that his number, and he's very public about it. He says my number was 100 million.
Yeah.
I achieved it twice and then I lost it. Third time I achieved it, I said that's it. I'm stopping.
Yeah.
And now he does podcasts. He teaches. He criticizes people all the time, but he's got freedom, right?
Yeah.
Is it a big or a small number, 100 mil? That's subject to,
Yeah.
if you ask Musk,
Yeah.
he'll probably say that's pocket change, Altman, whatever. If you ask most people in Mexico, they're going to say that's a number that nobody's going to be able to reach, or they don't, is not in their mindset. That's what I'm saying about getting a number.
Yeah.
Get a number that you're comfortable with. I mean, that satisfies you. This guy was 100 mil.
Yeah.
And I think, just double clicking on what you're saying, that's outside noise. When you when you have a Tesla and then you have a Ferrari, and then it comes up to an age, or then you realize they take you from here to there.
Yeah.
People that really know you and they really like you, they're gonna like you in a Volkswagen or in the Ferrari, which is actually the study of happiness that I love so much. It says true and meaningful relationships. That's the biggest takeaway of what happiness is. I think social media plays a huge role in that, because it's very rare that you will see somebody poor, sad, and broke on social media.
Yeah.
You don't see that. You see them happy. You see them rich. You see them traveling. You see them doing stuff, and that most of them is fake. When you know the people, when you know their real lives. One guy said one day, he said, I love this quote. It was like, the only guy that you're going to show off the Ferrari to is the valet parking.
Yeah.
People that know you.
Yeah.
And people that value you, not because you have a Ferrari or because you build us or that, mostly because what you give back, how you participate in a community, and how you're trying to keep your relationships healthy.
Yeah, it's a tough balance. If I'm being honest, it's a tough balance. In today's world and age, it's a very tough balance. I've grown up, with a very family-driven belief, with a very big belief to give back. all these core beliefs that I have are very aligned to, money is not everything and stuff. And I'm personally if I'm being honest, I'm till now split. I'm till now split between, do I want to be very rich and probably suffering in one of these departments, family or relationships or what, or happiness, or do you want to be okay rich and have a healthy everything else?
The thing is, what is okay rich
Yes.
and what is very rich?
That's the problem. For me, what drives me is how much I can create impact and help. It's funny because one of my close friends asked me, he's like, what's your dream? My dream is he literally dreams about this. I dream to buy a jet with, I don't know, some $3 million jet or something. And being that I keep having this in my dreams, that same jet, that really expensive jet, I keep having this in my dreams because I think about it so much. I'm like, my dream is to go to a country, go to any part of the world where somebody comes to the airport, picks me up, shows me around, has a good time, and drops me back. And how can this happen? This can happen if I can have an impact in that person's life. Can be through money, through not money, through time, through whatever I can do. But I want to have such a big impact that I go somewhere and somebody's hosting me with love. And this is very, very tough to achieve. How much money do I need to do that? I don't have a number, because there's so many ways you can impact, right? Time, money, effort, so many ways, just being part of somebody's story. And I've already have some of this going on in some parts of the world. It is beautiful to have, but again, I don't have a number for it. And that's what makes that really tough. Very rich or okay rich, because for the jet guy, he needs 300 million to buy the jet. I don't have a number. Probably in the next few years, I hope I can create a dream where I have that number, a plan where I have that number. But till now, I don't know what that number might be.
It's a good thing to decide. I'll advise you to do that because it gives them a lot. They say you always have to have like a lighthouse, right? It's just there. How am I gonna get? I don't know, but it's there.
Yeah.
I think having a straight path to what do you want financially, what do you have, what do you want in your family, what are your core values, like you said, and I agree. Money is a means to the way, but it's a very important mean. I mean, but to get there, there is a lot of people that you're gonna impact on the way, that you're gonna have to let go on the way. That's something that a lot of people don't talk about. If you want to get there to your lighthouse, there's gonna be people that you're gonna have to be let go.
Yeah.
Probably it matters to you or not, but if they matter, it's gonna hurt. Then it's gonna take process in yourself. But they have to be let go because they're on your way to your lighthouse.
Yeah, that's a very important point.
Not a lot of people talk about that.
Yeah.
And then when you have that, then you have a number, and then you have a design lifestyle, I guess, to get there. How are you gonna get there? You don't know. You're building. I like that about you. You build things. Now I'm in this stage of my life where I'm building things, and I like to build things, and I want to be on the cutting edge of what's going on. And sometimes I go to some presentation and they say like, the leader of AI, and I'm like, there's been 3 years of this thing. How can anybody will be like the leader of AI? Well, and I also think that education, or not education, knowledge is going to become a commodity. Knowledge is just going to be like water. It's out there.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want. Just get it.
Yeah, you have to.
It's going to depend on the person, not that you have to go to college, that you have to pay a big university, that you will need to have a big degree. Some of the things that amazes me the most is everywhere in the third world, and they keep asking people to have degrees and to go to college and do that, to, like you say, bureaucracy, right? The richest people in the world, as you know, they're college dropouts. They jobs didn't finish. Sergey, and I mean, Google people dropouts, Zuckerberg dropout. I mean,
Yeah,
that doesn't say anything. I mean, it says that you are consistent and that you can finish a job, but not that you have knowledge.
yeah. No, very true. They understand the importance of not wasting those years, when they're building. So yeah, no, very, very, very much agreed on all these points. I think as more young parents are coming up, hopefully this becomes more accepted. Till now, it's starting to be accepted, but till now, it's very go to school and do this and do that. On the core, all of that still exists. You're not a good kid if you're not going to school properly. So I think parenthood and mentorship and all that is going to change.
Definitely.
Change.
It's got to change because, like you say, follow the money.
Yeah.
How much money are you going to invest in your education? What's the return on that investment?
Yeah.
Grab the money. What happens if you grab all the money that you spend in your education, and probably you would have bought crypto back in the day when you went to college? How would that look like now?
Yeah, it's funny because I see memes. Oh, I'm sorry, I did not buy land in 2000 because I was going to school, or I was, I was very young, or some stuff like that. I don't remember exact meme, but it's like that, right? I mean, what's done is done, but we wish things could be different. But in hindsight, it's always easy.
It's always.
As somebody who cares for somebody younger, my kid, my mentee, whoever that might be, we want them to be safe. We want them to at least have a base. So I think it's, as a parent, as I said, that's why the shift has to happen on how to be okay with my child taking a lot of risk and doing what they like. I personally think if I'm not enjoying my journey, the destination does not matter. Because the same belief, I don't know when I'm gonna die. It might be tomorrow, it might be right now after this. Am I happy with what I was doing, or I was unhappy and working towards some happiness that I never achieved? So, I think hopefully more parents and more people in our generation can understand that for the younger generation.
Well, we could stay for hours, but I lost track of the time. We're close hitting there an hour and a little bit. We Descúbrete. Descúbrete in Spanish has two meanings. It means take off. Like when you get to the doctor's office, they say Descúbrete. It means take your clothes off because they're gonna. So take your clothes off. And also Descúbrete will mean to find yourself going forward. We ask everybody that comes to the podcast, what's the journey about discovering yourself could mean to you in the last 10 years? What have you discovered about yourself in the last 10 years?
I personally have discovered that no dream or no number is impossible. As I said, I grew up with set limiting beliefs that $1 million is crazy. It's okay. It's great. But I've discovered that, okay, there's no limit to what you can dream about in the last 10 years. And one more thing that I've discovered is that anybody in any part of the world, in any situation, in any social setting, can teach you great things if you want to learn. I have mentors from very, very poor mentors, people who are not ready to do business at all. I try to find good in people. That's why I try to take good things from some people in small aspects. The concept of one mentor, one mentee is vanished. You can have 100 mentors with small learnings that you can look back in life and be like, oh, I'm thankful for this person. It can be any social setting. So it's very funny, quick story. So I live in El Refugio and there's a taco stand across my place. And I went there first time. It's great tacos, street side tacos. I went there and I was out in 5 minutes, from ordering to eating to paying the bill, giving them tip, everything. I was taking my pictures even out in 5 minutes. They have two little benches and some stools. I can promise you across the road there's KFC and McDonald's and all these chains. I can promise, I've not talked about numbers, but I can promise you this stand makes more money than these chains across the road. Because I've seen and I've learned this from that person that you don't need to have a perfect, good looking building to sell tacos. You know, you can have a small space, very small space, comes in every day, probably buys his meat in the morning, go, 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 go. For 8, 9 hours, they'll go, 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 go. They're always packed. Because they're small, it gives the image that they're so popular. Scarcity. And, it's just about learning, right? And I've already tried to start using that in some of my products when I'm launching stuff. Scarcity concept, the quick in out concept. So, it's just an example, right? That's one thing I also discovered. Any part of the world, anything can teach you good stuff. These are 2 discoveries in the last 10 odd years.
Well, it's been great. It's a great conversation. You always have friends here in Mexico. It was so nice to meet you. Anything you want to add before we go?
No, I love this country. It reminds me a lot of my home. I'm here for a short time. I hope I can come back. In this 2-3 months, I've met great people, including yourself. I hope I can stay in touch. The biggest issue that people like us face, digital nomads or people who travel a lot and stuff, we make great relationships and we move on. Then we sometimes regret, oh, this relationship could have been nurtured more. So I hope I've met great people. I hope I can nurture these relationships, for a longer time, personally, professionally, what might it be. But I've had a great time in Mexico. I hope I can come back and live over here more and meet more great people.
We'll be so happy to have you. If you like this conversation or spark something in you, share, reply, please subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you at the next one. Thank you.